Hello everyone, my name is Alex Ferry, and today I would like to start by telling you the story of Danny Bond. Danny was born with a very painful bowel condition that progressed in his pain over the years. According to Child Euthanasia, Too Hard to Live, Too Young to Die by Paul Valley on February 16, 2014, Danny began talking about wanting to die at the age of 13. As he grew older, to the age of his 21st birthday, Danny tried to commit suicide on 3 separate occasions due to the pain from this disease. He eventually told his parents that he could no longer endure the pain and that he would like to be taken to his local hospital to be administered euthanasia in order to relieve himself from his suffering. Euthanasia is the medical practice where a medical professional provides either a lethal injection, a medication, or another sort of practice in order to relieve someone of their pain by ultimately ending their life. Danny was denied this process and instead starved himself for 4 days in front of his parents, who had to watch him suffer to death. The reason Danny was denied euthanasia is due to the fact that it is currently illegal in the United States, and many people with cases similar to Danny's are denied every single day. According to Jade Wood and Justin McCarthy from the Gallup in 2017, over 73% of Americans support the concept of euthanasia. However, this practice is still illegal. The fact that so many believe that this is such a prominent and prevalent part of society are being denied their basic right of death. In our case, we will all eventually face death as well. Euthanasia provides a comforting out of the normal tendencies of death, where suffering and pain and everything else is included. I am asking you today to support the legalization of euthanasia and all that it consists of. Euthanasia targets so many factors of life, but it specifically addresses why one should not be made to suffer, why one should be able to choose when and how they die, and why someone should be able to die with dignity. Now that we've talked about euthanasia and several of the components of it, we will be specifically talking about why no one should be made to suffer and why euthanasia supports this idea. According to Euthanasia Debate Revised in China, revived by the New York Times on February 2, 1988, a survey of 199 people in the northern province of Heilongjiang showed 89% favored euthanasia for terminally ill victims. In the Chinese culture, their practices and conditions, euthanasia is an absolute, it's absolutely unacceptable. However, these people are so humanizing and sympathetic and understand why no one should be made to suffer that a majority of them believe that this practice should be law. It just shows how humans believe that suffering is something no one should have to go through. And the practice of euthanasia eliminates suffering from a patient who may be feeling it more than anyone else could imagine. According to Ethical Problems of Euthanasia by the British Broadcasting Corporation in 2014, it is wrong to make anyone live longer than they want. In fact, making people go on living when they don't want to violates their personal freedom and human rights. No one should be made to have to endure an amount of pain when it is their choice between life and death. Euthanasia provides for this reasoning and allows one to end their life when they believe that their suffering has become too much. Now that we've talked about why no one should be made to suffer, we will be talking about why one should be able to choose how and when they die. According to my Practicing Euthanasia survey that I distributed among family and friends, a participant said if a person is in pain or they are requested to not be in a vegetative state for a certain amount of time, euthanasia should be allowed. This also applies if a person requests euthanasia when they are conscious and in pain. The two most relevant parts of our lives are life and death, and everything we do in between. That is a choice of ours. Who we love, what we eat, where we work, those are all choices. That timeline of life is just simply a choice. The fact that death is not a choice in how we want to go about it, or how we should be made to handle it, is unacceptable, and especially in American culture. Euthanasia provides an outlet for one to end their life in the terms and conditions that they want to and choose when and how they would like to pass away, to maybe avoid the suffering that they believe will come, or anything else that their reasoning supports for euthanasia. Now that we talked about why someone should be able to choose how and when they will die, we'll be talking about why one should be able to die with dignity. According to Why We Should Make Euthanasia Legal, written by Kalish Chan on July 1, 2009, the goals of the medical profession should continue to remain one of saving lives, but this should not be at the expense of compassion and a terminally ill individual's right to choose to end his or her life and die with dignity. To go off this, in a specific story of Diana Pretty, she recalls life as blessed and she lived a very happy life. However, when she was in her 70s, she was diagnosed with a motor neuron disease that slowly ate away at her brain, essentially. It began to take away her individuality and personality, and Diane just did not want to be remembered as that, in such a vegetative state. She would prefer to die with dignity. And in an article written Why Active Euthanasia and Physician-Assisted Suicide Should Be Legalized by the British Medical Journal on November 10, 2001, in regards to Diana's life, she faces a death that she believes will entail indignity and suffering and physically cannot kill herself. Although the disease would not necessarily shut Diana's body down, it would take away the part of life that she wanted to be remembered as. Diana was not accepting of this fact and chose to take the route of using euthanasia in order to end her life due to the fact that she wanted to, as I said before, die with dignity. She wanted to remember as the strong woman that she was rather than what she was going to become due to a disease. Euthanasia provides for this in all the aspects I've just covered, especially in the fact that it truly did allow her to die with dignity, and people only remember her as the way she wanted to be remembered. From my presentation, I am asking you to support the legalization of euthanasia in America due to all that it provides and the concepts that it focuses most heavily on, including why no one should be made to suffer, why one should be able to choose when and how they would like to die, and why one should be able to die with dignity. As stated before, in the statistic of 73% of Americans believe euthanasia should be legal, people aren't getting what they're asking for. People aren't being provided a way out of a normalized death, and instead they're being forced to face such suffering and pain. We will all eventually pass away, and having euthanasia as an option is just so relieving for many individuals in America. In an interview with Cher Saffron on March 6, 2018, she recalls her parents who used the practice of euthanasia in order to end their lives. Charlie and Francine Emmerich had no regrets, no unfinished business. It felt like their time, and it meant so much to know they were together. The practice of euthanasia here allowed two individuals to feel no suffering and die when they believed it was their time. Euthanasia should be a legalized practice in America due to stories like this and others all around the world. No one should be taken. Let me backtrack real fast. No one should have their basic right of death taken away from them, especially when euthanasia is there to prevent the pain that is commonly associated with death. Please support the legalization of euthanasia in America. Thank you.